The White House this morning. Executive order is expected at 10 a.m. this morning. We will keep you updated. Keep it here on Real America's Voice all day long because CNN will not have any live coverage, but you know we will. Welcome back, folks, to American Sunrise this morning. The Defense Department now has a new medal for troops specifically deployed to the southern border. It is called the Mexican Border Defense Medal. It will be given to the roughly 8,500 members of the Joint Task Force Southern Border. This newly created medal will be given instead of the Armed Forces Service Medal. For more, let's bring in RAV correspondent, the host of Law and Border. That would be Ben Bergquam, who joins us from Douglas, Arizona this morning, right there on the Mexican border. Ben, with President Trump, you know, this isn't just about immigration policy. That is obviously first and foremost. There's also a PR aspect to this, and this administration clearly wants Americans to see the heroic nature of those serving our country to protect our border. I'm curious to get your thoughts this morning. And good morning. And I know it's a very early morning out there in Arizona.
Yeah, no, good morning to you, David. Absolutely, these guys should be given a medal. They're deployed. This is the front line in the war to save our country. And if we're not, you know, when we talk about importance of location for our troops to be, I can't think of a more important location. I mean, this is the sovereignty of our nation. And so for these guys to be out there, you know, whether or not they actually engage in a gun battle or anything, they are deployed. To me, this is a time of war on our southern border, and so I think they absolutely deserve to be receiving that accommodation. And you see what's going on down here on the southern border. I've just spent the last 4 days starting in San Diego, making my way across. We're actually heading back out towards Texas as we speak. But each point along the way, you're learning something new. You know, as the cartels are changing their tactics from the tunnels, or going over the way they previously were under the Biden administration, just walking in, sending people in, walking them in, walking the drugs across our border. Now they're having to change their tactics up directly because of President Trump's policies. And so whether or not, I would say it's absolutely not a PR stunt, although President Trump is great. These guys are, you know, American soldiers. They're the best of the best of who we have, and they're on the front lines in the battle to save this country.
Yeah.
Ben, we're seeing reports that the Trump administration has ordered the border wall to be painted black. Officials say this is to try and stop people from climbing it. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem has touted the height of the new wall that is being built. Why would this deter? Does it have to do with I just don't understand why painting the wall is going to make a difference. Explain, please. Heat?
Well, there's a couple things. It protects the wall, for one. So when you paint something, it prevents it from corroding. Although these walls are designed to withstand corrosion, the biggest part is it makes it harder to climb. So this paint has some chemical properties in it that makes it more slippery, and that's the most important factor. So when, you know, we got illegals that are trying to climb over the wall, it just makes it that much harder to do.
Makes sense.
And hopefully it makes it hotter, so it hurts, you know, it hurts a little more too. But the truth is, it also, you know, these guys are going to go over, that most of the time they're using ladders. It's rare that you'll see the guys, the professionals climb it. So if they're going to put a ladder up for the rest of the group to climb over, sometimes you'll see the first guy, the cartel scout, climb up the wall and then hook a hook over the top of it. Most often, though, they do that from the bottom, but the taller the wall is, the harder that is to do. And so these 35-foot walls, you know, basically President Trump, the administration, they're doing everything they can to make it harder to come in, rather than what Joe Biden and the Democrats did, do everything they can to make it easier to come in.
Yeah, would razor wire across the top not be a logical thing?
That's already in place in many sections of the wall. So, you know, I was down there in San Diego. You've got two walls. You've actually got a double layer wall, and both of those have concertina wire on the top as well. So you see that all, and same with here in Douglas, Arizona. You've got concertina wire, massive levels. In fact, some places you have it from top to bottom, making it very difficult. You know, but these guys they have ingenuity. They'll basically take a blanket and put it over the razor wire. So anything that Border Patrol does, anything that law enforcement does, criminals try to find a way around it. And so it's this constant game of tactic, change tactic, tactic, change tactic. But that's that's what these guys do. They figure out new ways, and President Trump and Border Patrol also figure out new ways to try to prevent them.
Since you're talking about the fact that these criminals are changing their tactics and continuing to try to find new ways to get around the security that's in place, give us an idea of what some of the other remaining challenges are. And I ask this question in light of the fact that President Trump is saying, hey, there's zero crossings. And even President Trump says, I find that hard to believe, but that's what I'm being told, is that there are zero crossings. What are the remaining challenges? What are the existing challenges still that border agents are having to work with and deal with?
Well, we've got some new video coming out. It should be getting out later today. I was just down meeting with the chief of San Diego border sector and went down with the tunnel team. So we'll be putting all that together. It's a lot of footage, amazing footage down there. But I was asking the San Diego chief that very question. So what does it look like today versus a year ago? A year ago, they were having 1,500 in the San Diego sector, 1,500 illegals cross per day, apprehensions. Now it's between 10 and 15. So when they say zero, what they're referring to is zero released into the United States. So under Joe Biden, the illegals would cross over in one sector, 1,500, and sometimes on a single day across the entire border, you had as many as 10,000. I mean, the numbers were just astronomical. And the number that President Trump is focused on, and the number that really does matter, is how many of those that do cross are allowed into our country. Now, that number of 10,000 or 1,500 in one sector going down to 10 to 15 in that same sector, the biggest difference is Border Patrol is able to do their jobs now. So now you have 10 or 15 that are making a run for it. You're actually able to deploy your resources to go catch those guys. They tend to be the worst of the worst. What we're also seeing is an increase on other tactics to get around that. So you're not just walking over the wall or across the border. Now we're seeing, that's why we went and met with the tunnel team down in San Diego, who've been operating since 2010. What we're anticipating is the cartel shifting more of that to underground. So seeing more tunnels in more locations to bypass the border wall. We're also getting word. I got reached out to by a Customs and Border Enforcement friend down in the San Diego sector as well, saying there's a lot of corruption. And so it appears that the cartel is trying to buy off more Border Patrol officials and more Customs and Border Protection officials to try to bypass some of the laws that are in place right now. So it's a constant game. It's cat and mouse, whatever you want to call it, where good guys, bad guys, cops and robbers. And so as President Trump, as law enforcement changes, as they tighten up their restrictions, you're going to see cartel operations shift and modify as well. But they are getting pinched like they've never been pinched before. This is the toughest our border's ever been. It's the least number of crossings. It's the most secure. Going back to the chief of San Diego, it is the most secure our border has ever been.
Yeah. Ben, 20 seconds or so. You're heading where now? To Texas? You're like Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world are you exactly? Where are you going next?
Yeah, we're going to make several stops. I'm actually going to be linking up with our friend Anthony Aguero in El Paso. Speaking of the new wall sections that are going up, we're going to be linking up there, looking at those new wall sections, and then continuing on. And later this week, I'll be with ICE. I can't tell you where or when that'll be, but stay tuned. It'll be good.
The Smiling Patriot, Ben Bergquam. Thanks for being here.
Thanks,
great
Ben.
to see you.
Thanks, Ben.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
All right, coming up, a new DNA test can reportedly help detect signs that your child is at a risk for obesity. Those details when American Sunrise continues on a Monday. Back in a moment, everybody.